going to get into a book that was a horrific situation, but I want to say this right now. The headlines in my paper today says this: our drought is the worst in 1,200 years. U.S. West. Scientists find global warming the key factor in severity. The extreme dryness that has ravaged the American West for more than 2 decades now ranks as the driest 22-year period in at least 1,200 years. And scientists have found that this mega drought is being intensified by humanity's heating of the planet. We are the enemy. Prepare. We are identified as the enemy. We are doing this. We're being told that. So today is Tuesday. It is February 15th of 2022. I'm going to cover a couple other things, but more in depth on our next radio show, David, because I want to talk about as above, so below. We're going to be posting more on the internet of underwater things and what is now being done to our oceans. It is extremely important to understand they're now calling our oceans smart oceans. And here's a little bit of what that involves. It is the internet of underwater things. The internet of underwater things. Now, I will add this. Years back, I went to a fish hatchery, and they were using an X-Acto knife to make a little incision at the tails of these little salmon, little tiny baby salmon, and they were putting in chips. The chips were about the size of a long grain rice, and they'd throw them back in the little area, and then they would release them. And I asked them, "How are you tracking these fish?" And they said at the time that they had deployed transponders and receivers along the creek edges to follow and track the fish and the salmon. So now we have the internet of underwater things being unveiled. We need to understand what this is. Again, we are being decimated. So as you protest and you say nothing about controlled weather, even if we can't do anything about that, and we cannot, it is unacknowledged. We are being murdered by events that are unacknowledged. But if you decide to mob it out and protest, thinking you've got rights, at least hold some readable signs that says something real, like climate change is fomenting weather, in unlivable weather conditions, and climate change is weather weapons. Say that. What on earth is everyone doing? But now we have the internet of underwater things, and it's invasive and dangerous, and the initiative that has been quietly unfolding now for a number of years. They're calling it Smart Oceans. And there's a paper in 2012, the Internet of Underwater Things as defined as a worldwide network of smart, interconnected underwater objects that enables to monitor vast, unexplored water areas. So I hope you all realize why the fish are literally beaching themselves on the beaches, why we have massive die-off in the desert. And I don't know how many of you saw a huge swath, a thick swath of blackbirds in Mexico in the last few days, apparently hit by frequencies. They were flying away, it appeared, and then many tumbled to the ground. So we're as above, so below. So we have to understand they're introducing underwater devices that communicate long distances through acoustic waves, deafening marine life, as well as installing nodes and devices at the ocean floor, scattering numerous underwater vehicles and robots all over the ocean, creating electromagnetic interfaces. Electromagnetic interfaces. Here are a few things you can look up. And I will dedicate an entire show to this. Again, I am a boat person. I lived on the ocean. This is near and dear to my heart as I now watch the oceans being absolutely destroyed, such as the land that we live on as well. But the objective of the European Sunrise, look this up, the Sunrise Initiative, is to provide the missing tools for an unprecedented monitoring and exploration of marine environments by extending the concept of the Internet of Things to marine environments. They talk about how the promise of oil and gas exploration, speaking, and of course they're talking against sustainability, but this is what they're doing. They're harvesting the resources, monitoring of waterways and marine environments, providing renewable energy through offshore wind turbines, sustainable use of the ocean resources. There is absolutely no way that renewable energy will run our countries. Renewable energy is not reliable because they control the weather. And in fact, all of the wind turbines and many other operational renewable energy equipment that they are deploying now takes thousands and thousands of acres. And the frequencies are disruptive even on land. But it's important to note that according to Forbes, the Internet of Underwater Things was awarded, this is DARPA. This is DARPA's Ocean of Things. And according to Forbes, DARPA was awarded a contract for the next phase of development of its Ocean of Things, a project to seed the seas with thousands of floating sensors, monitoring everything that passes from aircraft to submarines, monitoring everything. In their own words, DARPA's Oceans of Things program seeks to enable persistent maritime situational awareness over large ocean areas by deploying thousands of small, low-cost floats that form a distributed sensor network. Each smart float contains a suite of commercially available sensors to collect environmental data such as sea surface temperature, sea state and location, as well as activity data about commercial vessels, aircraft, and even maritime mammals moving through the area. The floats transmit data periodically via satellite to a cloud network for storage and real-time analysis. Here's another project, CNET project. And in 2018, the CNET project was introduced to the public in the United States, funded by the U.S. National Science Foundation to develop an open platform for flexible experimentation with underwater networked systems. Now, I'm